And now joining me in studio is Phineas Sebola, Cosas Provincial Secretary from Limpopo Province. A very warm welcome to you and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, and greetings to all listeners, viewers, students in particular.
Yes, and now one of the provinces that has been struggling because of financial mismanagement managed to produce some of the country's 2017 top achievers in matric. Why was it possible this time around for this province?
Look, it's always possible. It has always been possible. Limpopo has always produced quantity, though we have been unable to produce quality. Quantity. So what we know from Limpopo is that we have hard workers. What we know from Limpopo is that we have children of the poor of the poorest. So we will have those families that their children will want to work hard, but unfortunately, because of the system of education, of the situation they find themselves in, particularly that they are in deep rural areas of Limpopo, it's always difficult for them to perform at their level best. But what we have always known from Limpopo, from previous years and from long ago, is that we have been producing top learners in the country, though we have been unable to produce quantity.
And on that, according to reports, education experts have welcomed the 2017 matric results, but they have cautioned that the pass rate alone should not be used as a barometer for the quality of education in South Africa. Now, what is your take on the education system in South Africa? Because we know that Limpopo has been known as the province that suffers the most, especially when it comes to receiving teaching materials.
Look, the system of education in South Africa, we have declared long ago as the student organization that it's more like a prison. It's unfortunate that in South Africa you have no choice but to attend in those schools. But the honest truth is that black people are divided in two, from those who are rich and those who are poor. I think we could have seen, for example, the results of private schools have come out before children of the poor. So the system of education has not prepared us with anything for a long time now, that it even divides us, because immediately when you decide to release results of those who are rich, you tell those who are still waiting for their results that you will get yours. Let us first deal with these ones who are rich. Let us first deal with queens and kings of South Africa. So the system of education is divided as the first, regardless of it being of low quality. But firstly, it has divided as such that we feel like those who are poor are lower than those who are rich. That's why even the national chairperson of the ANC, Ugweta Mantashe, was even able to have an audacity to go on public and say a rich person is capable of leading South Africa, meaning those who are poor cannot lead South Africa. And that actually tells us that this South Africa will never be changed, because the system of education is led by people who are rich. People whom their children are not going to this public school, but they are leading children who are attending in public schools. So it has taught us that Tina who are poor, who live poverty, cannot achieve anything except just getting a simple degree that will get us employment, not ownership of big companies.
And what quantitative analysis needs to be put in place so that it doesn't hide the real truth about the education quality, instead of using those percentages that they have been showing us?
Look, I think we must first start at schools. That we need to scrap all private schools, because that's where the problem lies. Is that these ones who are rich, because their children are at private schools, they don't think of improving the system of education where we're staying. They don't think of improving the standards where we're staying. So we must first ask Kokwe NG that where are your children? Where did your children study? Why are we studying in public schools where you take your children to private schools? We need to first have all MECs, all district senior managers and circuit managers with their with their children studying in public schools, so that they put more care in public schools. But that is only possible that we cancel private schools in South Africa, because we agree that people can do their business as they please, but you can't do a business with public schools unless if we're going to have two ministries, the Minister of Public Schools and the Minister of Private Schools. But then the taxpayers' money cannot go to private schools like they're doing now. Because the reason they're taking their children to private schools, they know they have a budget that they're taking there. So it automatically becomes a challenge in South Africa, in Limpopo in particular, that we are in a province that doesn't have money, but still you spend money on private schools. So that's why we must start. We must equalize everyone in the country, regardless of them being rich or poor.
And now we have heard also from the announcement, the President saying that there will be free education, of course, for the poor and working class. And we also heard Julius Malema making a call for students to just walk at any desired varsity that they would like to go to. And then we also heard varsities saying that they will not allow the walk-in applications to take place. And then we also heard Minister Hlengiwe Mkhize coming in and saying that normal processes should be followed. What do you think should be the way forward as Cosas?
Look, in taverns or in liquor stores, when we walk in, no one is intimidating us. When we walk into liquor stores, there's no security there. We just walk in freely. So, but today, when we want to walk in schools, there's security. When we want to walk in where lies our future, there's security, there's intimidation, there's national announcement of saying do not walk in. It's not about who has announced the struggle. If Julius Malema has said you must go to school, if the struggle is genuine, it's fine. As Cosas, we are ready to take up arms in defense of that revolution. We are continue to say to learners that come Monday, if there's any institution of higher learning around you, we have organized in Limpopo in particular, we have organized branch leadership around schools that they must assist them to work in those institutions. If they are not going to allow them to work in those universities or TVET colleges, for them to stop us, they will have to put a lot of security there, because that security will only make us not work in, then we'll jump in. Because we are ready to do anything to make sure that we are going to school. The Minister of Higher Education, Vice Chancellors are rich already. They're driving big machines. We are working. So we can't drive in universities because we are working. We are going to work in universities. And that must not be condemned by anyone, because no one is stopping us to work in liquor stores. And to also not to forget to acknowledge the President for the call for free education, because I think he's the first president in the history of South Africa not to have a degree, but he's the first president to announce free education. So that must be applauded, because no one questioned him when he said there will be free condoms in South Africa. But today they want to question him when he says there will be free education for the poor. So we welcome the announcement very well, and we're saying we are ready to defend the revolution. Come Monday, if they are going to stop us with rubber bullets, it does not take a lot of money to prepare a petrol bomb.
But now, do you not think that this will cause a lot of chaos at these various institutions, because they have said that proper processes need to be followed, applying online and various other options? Why are you refusing to follow these processes that varsities have put in place?
Look, let me give Limpopo as an example that we are still struggling with the broadband. So you can go to deep rural areas there that they don't even have access to proper internet, that their cell phone networks is even difficult for them. So online system is not simple for everyone. You must remember that it's not everyone who is able to access the online system. Hence, we're complaining with simple things like your stationery, that we want to be given stationery for free. So imagine if we want the government to buy us a simple thing, a ball pen, a ruler, and a rubber, and a pencil. How are we going to afford this expensive data that we have seen the DA of the white monopoly capital refusing to give our people in Tshwane in particular Wi-Fi. So how are deep rural areas in Limpopo going to get this internet? Because it's not everyone. For example, like we have always complained about the system of education. It's not everyone who's able to switch on a computer or a laptop, particularly from high school. So how do we then expect them to all go online just like that? So we're not having a problem with proper procedures to be followed. But the problem is, are we saying those who are poor, those who don't even have smartphones, to struggle with registering at institutions of higher learning? Or are we saying those who are rich because they are staying in cities and their parents were able to buy them laptops and computers must be the only ones who register? Because you can go to any university in rural areas, particularly in Limpopo. You can go to the University of Limpopo, you can go to University of Venda. You'll never find a white person on the queue, but you will only find black people. But throughout the year in those universities, you continuously find white people in classes everywhere. It means white people have always been able to register online. So the online system, truth must be told, even students at universities are struggling with NSFAS online. So imagine a learner who's just from grade 12 in rural areas, in one school in Mahweji there, who must then go online and register on a new system that was just introduced last week by the Minister of Higher Education, that we're not even sure if it's functional, that they must go and register there. So we don't see that system as a reliable system. We're saying to students they must go there. If it means it's going to be violent, revolution has never been peaceful. They've killed Solomon Matlangu for being a revolutionarist. They have killed a child as young as Hector Petersen for being a revolutionarist. Zetsi Mashinini has since disappeared because of revolution. So if it means we're going to disappear because of revolution, let it be. We're not asking for access to a brewery. We're not asking for access to a tavern. We're pleading with South Africans that at least we want to go to school. Can they at least understand that we want to go to school and change this country? So if they are going to stop us from going to school, we're also going to stop them from stopping us.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us here in studio.
Thank you very much as well for having us.
That was Phineas Sebola, Cosas Provincial Secretary in Limpopo Province. We know that one of the provinces that has been struggling because of financial mismanagement managed to produce some of the country's 2017 top achievers in matric.